Hey guys, this is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. Hey, today we're going to talk about my favorite subject, which is sales. All right, we got a cool subject for ourselves today, so let's go ahead and get to it. Our subject for today is selling. Birds of a feather flock together. What? I said selling. Birds of a feather flock together. What? That's a pretty good question, right? You know, I've been in sales in one form of capacity since the 80s, so I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and all kinds of crazy things that deal with selling. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is the people that you hang around with will make you or break your selling success. You know, I've been in sales, like I said, for a long time, and so I figured this out a long time ago when I first got into selling, but I didn't know how to articulate it yet. But as I've gotten a little bit more mature, I told you this forum, because my name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy, is to inform you about things. I'm not preaching to you, I'm teaching to you. And our subject again is birds of a feather flock together. What does that mean? Who are you hanging around with? Okay. And I'm going to tell you this. A lot of times when we get into sales, you know, we kind of gravitate towards people we're kind of like a little bit. And sometimes them people ain't the people that you want to hang with. I'm saying if you hang around with what they call whiners or people who are complainers, who are always saying, I don't know why that guy's doing real good. I do the same thing. Well, that boy ain't complaining. That lady ain't complaining. And the key to success is who you hang around with is probably going to be how you perform in your selling career. Now, a lot of times, you know, when you're first getting into sales, you know, everybody wants to be nice to each other and you want to have friends. But look, the people who rise to the top, because cream always rises to the top, that's an old saying, is they get really, really good. And the reason why, we don't get good on our own. We have to be around the right people, mentors and people who will train us and teach us how to be successful. Okay, it's that simple. And remember, the subject for today is birds of a feather flock together. What? And the reason why I specify this is because, you know, if you're hanging around with people that are mediocre and they're trying to teach you, a lot of times they may teach you a few things, but a lot of things that they'll teach you are bad habits, maybe some things that cutting corners, maybe not doing the right thing, and then you suffer. And then you go, dang, I don't know why I ain't selling. I'm just like that knucklehead by the water cooler. Okay. You know, like I said, birds of a feather flock together. One of the key things that I learned when I first got into selling was to separate myself from people that are talkers or bullcrappers or people, you know, they talk a good game, but they don't live a good game. And I hung around with winners. I'm talking about people who were successful. And I still to this day want to be with people of quality. And, you know, if you put yourself in a situation where you're around people that can train you, who've been there and done that, you get real fortunate. And what happens is, you know, birds of a feather flock together. If you hang with the eagles, you're going to be like an eagle. But if you don't, you'll be like a turkey and you're going to get basted and you're going to be at. Now, I know that sounds real funny, right? But it's real true. Birds of a feather flock together. Ask yourself, who am I hanging around with? Who am I hanging around with? The key to success in this regard is when you're in selling, you got to hang around mentors. You got to hang around with those people that are very successful because it rubs off on you. Now, I'm not saying hang around with manipulators because there's a whole bunch of people out there, they ain't got no soul. And they'll sell you a bunch of crap. Next thing you know, you done sold your soul. And what do I mean by that? Is some people ain't scrupulous. They're unscrupulous and they'll lie, manipulate. And if you're hanging around with those kind of birds, the next thing you're going to do is be doing the same thing. So be real careful about who you let into your selling life, period. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's some closers out there that are real good. There's some people that are really conniving. And they'll teach you all these conniving ways. And what happens is you become a conniver. You become a person who's not above board. And then you will lose your soul over a few dollars. And what I mean by that is, you know, you have to be to thine own self be true. When I was younger, I used to be a person who looked at people as a dollar bill. I did. I used to treat customers, I'd be real quick about my sales, and I'd close sales, but I didn't have a conversation. And then I started watching these people that were real successful in sales, and I saw that what they were doing was having selling conversations. But I never saw these people that were doing real well hanging around people that were manipulators or people who were mediocre. They only hung around with the top 10%. Now, if you really care about your selling career, and I know you do, you got to look around for those people that you can emulate, not abusive people, not people that won't take you to the next level. You got to remember, you birds of a feather flock together. So if you want to earn some respect from your other salespeople and management and stuff, they're looking for you to sell real good. But you got to remember, if you hang around with people that are going to take advantage of other people, you'll be that person too. Birds of a feather flock together. My name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. I told you I'd tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and all kinds of crazy things that deal with selling. And one of the key things of being a great salesperson is to put yourself around people that can train you to be the best that you can be. Now, like I said, you can learn from everybody. You can learn that, hey, I don't want to be that guy right there. I don't want to be that person who takes advantage of people. I want to be around people that take me to the next level. Because, see, management, they're always watching us, and they're always saying, well, dang, that person's always complaining. They always around those people that are mediocre, those people who aren't going anywhere. I guess this one ain't going anywhere either. But don't be that guy. I'm going to give you a fist bump, boom, boom, because I know that's not you. You're successful minded. You're looking for a way to be successful. You're trying to be the best that you can be. So by watching my videos, I got a bunch of them now. So go ahead and learn from me. But there's a lot of other great mentors out there that can give you those little bits and pieces, those nuggets of information that can take you to the next level. Like I said, I've been in sales for a long time. I've got some great mentors, some great people in my life that give me good direction. And I was real fortunate. My mama, she always said, you got to do your best. If you do your best, then you ain't got to worry about nothing else. Being the best is successful minded. You got to have that mentality. You got to say to yourself, I'm not going to hang around with the wieners. I'm going to hang around with the winners. I know it sounds funny, right? It really does. But like they say, birds of a feather flock together. And who are you hanging with? That's a good question. Okay, that's a real good question. Who am I hanging with? Where do I go? Where do I get my information? Where do I get fed? How's the knowledge that I'm using today going to help me close more sales? I didn't say manipulate people to buy. I'm talking about close more sales. Who and what am I learning? What's going into my brain? What kind of influence do people have over me? And you got to remember, people are watching you too. So once you start becoming very successful, if you're a manipulator, you'll end up teaching other people to be manipulators. If you are a salesperson, that means somebody who has sales conversation, asks for closes, who overcomes objections, and does the right next thing. People are going to emulate you too. What do you want to teach the next generation? What do you want to teach those new salespeople? What do you want to teach your own family, your children? Do you want people to look at you as the person who's a winner or a wiener? Do you want people to look at you as being a leader? Oh, yeah, we do. I know you do. Leaders want to lead. They don't want to follow. They want to lead. But sometimes if you hang around with the wrong people, remember, birds of a feather flock together. You start hanging around with people that are doing wrong, people that are taking advantage of people who are going out getting drunk and stoned and doing all kinds of crazy things every night. Birds of a feather flock together. You'll get a reputation. People say, oh, he's cool. He does this, he does that. That ain't right. Because, see, they ain't right. You got to ask yourself as a salesperson, am I right? Do I hang around with the turkeys or do I hang around with the eagles? Selling is a great career. It's a great opportunity. The reason why I've been able to stick and stay for so many years, because I've been in one form of capacity since the 80s, is I aligned myself with winners. I researched information from great motivational speakers. I learned, for me, I go to church, and that's one of the things, and I have some great men and some great women in my life that can call me on my stuff. Gary, you sure you want to do that? You sure? And if you have people like that who are going to give you some positive input, positive in, positive out. And like I said, I got real lucky. My mom was one of them kind of people that said, Gary, you got to do the next right thing. If you don't, it's going to have recourse. Now, I didn't always say I listened to my mama, because I've had to fail. I've had to falter. And sometimes in the very, very past, I've hung around with people that weren't good for me. They were not the kind of people that I would want my son to hang around with. These are the kind of people, that I know that I should have ran from. But see, you have to learn a lesson sometimes. Sometimes you got to get burnt. Sometimes you got to go, dang, why did I do that? Okay. And you got to follow your gut. Because I'll tell you what, I've made some poor decisions in my life because I didn't follow my gut. And I just learned. I keep learning these positive things, but again, it's the people I put in my life. Who are you hanging around with? Birds of a feather flock together. Who are you trying to emulate? Birds of a feather flock together. Who are you trying to be the best like? Are you trying to be the best you can be? Then you have to do the right things to be the best. Now, like I said, I've seen some salespeople, and I've done it in my past, where I cut corners. I didn't do what I should have done, and I paid the price for it. Now, I've been in sales for a long time, because my name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. I told you I'd tell you some things that would make salespeople go, damn, that's a pretty good idea. That's good information. Because, see, selling and birds of a feather flock together really matters. So as I've gotten older, I started hanging around with people that were a little bit smarter, should I say a whole lot smarter. I started listening to people that were successful minded, but I also looked at what they were doing outside of selling. Because see, if you hang around with people that are doing things that ain't right, sorry to say, you probably won't do things that are right either. But that don't mean you're done. Just remember, ebb and flow. We go through things. We are learning. We're salespeople. We're always searching and seeking the best things in our life. So go out there and sell something. My name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. If you're out there selling, and if you ain't asking for the order, you ain't selling, baby. Here's a little bit of fist bump, because see, now we're going to know the truth. Now we know that we need to hang around with the winners, the eagles, and not the turkeys. Birds, what was our topic for today? Selling. Birds of a feather flock together. Who are you hanging with? That's a good question. So go out there and sell something, and you gave me permission. I'm giving you permission to be with people that will build you up, not like crabs pull you down. And remember, hang around with mentors and people that are going places. But remember, stay away from those people that are mean manipulators, that are all about the dollar. Because, see, the dollar is really cool, but your soul is important too. So go out there and sell something. Have a wonderful day. My name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. We just had a really good, simple conversation about birds of a feather flock together and selling. Who are you hanging around with? Dang, that's a real good question. Birds of a feather. Flock together. Dang, I want to be an eagle. How about you? All right.